Well, hello, Mr. Jason.
I guess this is a coffee talk.
Is it coffee talk? Are we
It
going
is a
back to
coffee
the
talk.
old?
I think so.
All right. Well, yeah, we had a lot of folks sending some death threats and hate mail that we didn't have coffee talk.
Yeah.
Insurance dudes are on a mission to escape being handcuffed by our agencies.
How? By uncovering the secrets to creating a predictable, consistent, and profitable agency sales machine.
I am Craig Pretzinger.
I am Jason Feldman.
We are agents.
We are insurance dudes.
So we were just talking. I love the story that you just told.
Yeah.
Just told of somebody, an insurance agent that that gave you inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
And you are definitely in a different spot than you were even when I met you with your agency and everything else. So I think that this, if you stick around to the end of this, you're going to have a few huge takeaways from the story that Craig's going to tell. But Craig, tell me about this agent. How did you go to this event? What was it?
So there's an agent in the carrier that we're with.
Yeah.
If you're with this carrier, then you've heard of the green sheets, and you've heard of this guy, Bill Eggert.
Yeah. How many years ago was this?
This is 2017. So 6.
Oh.
Yeah. 2017, 26, I think 2016.
Okay.
Yeah. 2016. Cause Neil and I went out there. So we went to Texas Leaders Forum. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was like half as an agent, half as doing some other stuff, but I went in and it was great. Tolga was there. It was like all the old guys that we talked about. And I went.
Where were you at in your agency? Like, what was your daily?
Struggling, man. It was tough. Like, we were really good at sales, but we were really bad at prospecting. And what we didn't realize was, of course, we're really bad at prospecting because we don't have enough time in the day to prospect, right? Like we hadn't put that together yet. Like, we didn't understand that.
And when you say you were in the trenches too.
Oh yeah. 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 I mean, I was selling. So that's how long ago was that for? It's 2024. Happy New Year, Mr. Jason.
Happy New Year, sire.
Jeez, we totally forgot about that. Yeah. So it's, 8 years ago, I was in there doing it. I mean, I don't know how to do that anymore, but he was the inspiration for that, right? Like, I remember going to Texas Leaders Forum. Tolga was there, and Tolga was kind of like that too. Not really or not writing business. He was more as the business owner, and a lot of the agents that we started connecting with and talking to, or I was talking to, are kind of in that place where they're more like pulling the strings, and they were real plugged in with Bill. And I just looked at him when he was up there, and he said this one line that it was like, that was it. He says, he gets up on stage. Somebody asked a question about, well, when you do this, blah, blah. He said, whoa, are you asking me about how to do something in the system, in the computer system? I don't even know how to turn on my computer. Like, that was what the guy that's the agent of this very large book out in Texas said. And I said, wait a minute. He doesn't even know how to log into his computer. That's the best, right? I'm over here sweating. What is he doing that's the case, right?
And he was crushing it.
Oh, crushing it, right? I mean, and he had other businesses too, right? He's running this event. He created the green sheets. So he had all these other things, which I also was very interested in that too. I didn't want to just be the agent and then that's it, which there's nothing wrong with that, but I get a little bored. So I want to do other fun things too.
Yeah, that is crazy. I mean, he was probably joking a little bit about the computer, but I mean, you and I.
When was the last time that
I don't know much about the systems. That's for sure.
Right. I'm not the person to go to when you have a question about how to run the quoting system. There's people that are much better than me.
So the question is, so you take this guy that doesn't know how to turn on a computer. He's inspiring. Now we're talking like we're kind of doing the same thing. So what are the steps for an agent to go from being in the weeds, which we all have to be at some point, from in the weeds to be able to operate like this and being able to not just survive, but kind of thrive in that environment?
Sure. Well, I mean, there's steps to it, right? You can't just all of a sudden say, I'm not going to do quotes anymore. Right. There's a gradual shift. If like think of an estuary, right? The water comes in from the ocean, it mixes with the fresh water, and then there's a whole nother environment. So we have to slowly do that. We can't just automatically like instantly pull ourselves out and expect everything to go well. I mean, I guess you could, but it's not going to go well. So I think at the beginning, the first thing that I did was stop taking phone calls. Like that was the first thing, like I said, and it was very, very, very difficult.
Yeah.
Like I was very stressed and it's real interesting. Like I've done a lot of things since then, like personally to work on growth and just taking all of that, like applying that back. It's like such a control issue to have to answer every phone call and talk to every person. It's like so unnecessary, right? It's not moving the needle. It's an ego thing for me to think that me talking to Jim is the reason that he's going to stay for 20 years, right? Like it doesn't matter.
That was the single hardest thing for me as well. And the biggest turning point.
Oh yeah.
Was when, so I did the same thing, came into the book, had to call everybody to make sure everybody doesn't leave kind of thing. We all did. But I remember like 2 years into it and I was still like, I love talking to people and I would come out and talk to people and I would always say, I got to that point of where you were and like other people where it's like, only, try to say that I'm busy and try to handle the situation. And then of course they would, but only half the time because the other people, but this guy really wants to talk to you. He said he knows you and you guys have been friends forever, blah, 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 whatever. Right.
Right.
And then, so I'm still taking calls half the time. And then I'll never forget I was talking to who became my service manager. And I just had to tell her because there was so many, I kept taking these conversations and I was growing the business and I just didn't have the time in the day and I was leaving late from work and it was just so stressful. And I just had to tell her, I'm not going to take anybody, no matter what. Like that's the only way I can do this.
I can hear the stress in your voice thinking about it, right?
Yeah.
Like putting yourself back in that situation. Like, dude, it's the worst because you want to deliver, right? You want to be the good guy, like the good agent. And I think your carrier, the commercials, TV, whatever, there's this perception of the agent is this person that comes and talks to everybody and does their claim and goes out to their house and does all these things. But guess what? This person is also a human and only has 40 hours. Or let's say it's 168 hours. Okay. You have 168 hours in the week, but you can't spend all 168 at the office because you got to serve everybody, right? That's not serving everybody very well. By getting the right people in place that can then serve them, now things change, right? Because now you're serving the people who serve the clients instead of trying to serve every one of the clients, because it's impossible, right? If you scaled for what you went from 2 million to 9 million or whatever, how much? Yeah. So, I mean,
it would never, it would never have happened. There's absolutely no chance. And it's, I was just talking to one of our agents, Nate, that's in our group this morning about, he's an awesome agent. He's selling with his team. They're crushing it. They're doing a great job. But I was just saying, like, he's a newer agent. And I was saying, like, one of the things that you got to do at some point is there's going to be, as a business owner, there's not really linear growth. And if there is linear growth, it's usually incremental, kind of a 2x thinking. But if you want to kind of 10x, you have to do these things that, like, you step back, like you take a big pay cut, you invest a lot of money in, or something to make an impact in your business that can push you to that next level. And one of it was when you pull back of being in the weeds, and then you now are not selling to leads and clients and stuff like that. You're now in the role of selling your team on the vision, on the mission, on the values of the company. And that's a hard transition because, to your point of the ego, you are the one that's kind of steering the ship. You're in the weeds, and you know everybody's looking to you. You're the hero. And from the ego standpoint, you got to make somebody else the hero. And then also you got to take a pay cut, because now you're not going to be on the phones. Like, there is a pay cut that needs to be taken to give to somebody else, but the leverage has changed. There's only 16 hours a day that you could possibly put into an
Maybe
agency.
20.
Yeah. That you could possibly put it for your own hours. But as soon as you start leveraging other people's time with the money that's coming in the agency, or borrowing somebody's money, now you have infinite possibilities with the time, because now you can hire multiple people to start doing these things. And that costs at the beginning, right? But then it builds over time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a tough transition.
It is, but that's how you get the exponential growth, because I can see, like, you talking to Nate and going through that in his mind. I would think that he's thinking like, hey, I'm part of the thing. I'm in all the excitement and I'm doing all this stuff. And what he's not thinking about is all of this time that he's spending doing this, let's call it level 1 activity, right? He's doing level 1 activity, when instead, let's say that's for a year he does that, right? So that's 40 hours a week for a whole year. They'll have 2,000 hours, however many it is, right? So now he's spent 2,000 hours selling, which he could have just had a salesperson do, instead of 2,000 hours focused on exponentially, the next thing. What was he going to do? What's the next marketing thing? What's the, how is he, or is he going to go out and spend all his time hiring 3 more people? Whatever it is, there's an infinite number of things that could scale his business quicker than him writing that business and doing that level 1 activity.
100%. It is tough though. I think that's that mental mind shift to get kicked in the pants financially to make that step. And then also humility. And it's a lot more work at first too.
Right.
Is a tough transition.
It's funny, because in the world of immediate gratification, if we're looking at, okay, I could keep doing what I'm doing and it's okay, right? Or I could do a whole bunch of more work right now and it may work, right? Is kind of like what we think, right? It's like the emotional side of us says that, right? Come up with all the excuses why it won't work. And then on the logical side, we do the math, and the math, it's like the math is the math. And like, even having the math, sometimes it becomes emotional, right? But that's the key. Stick that math.
Love it. Any other insights with the Bill Eggert?
No, just well, the green sheets were great. We don't really do that anymore, just the way that technology is. But that idea of having a framework of different questions to ask, it was really good how they would follow up. So I think there's good takeaways, but I mean, at the end of the day, it was, I looked at him and I thought, that dude has multiple businesses and doesn't know how to turn on his insurance computer. I like that. Like, I want more of that, because I don't want to be stuck to this stupid insurance computer where I was actually, I don't know if you ever did it, but I gave my cell phone out. So I had clients that would text me, hey, I need to add a car. And I would do it back in the old days, right? There's still one. There's one left. And I mean, I stopped 8 years ago taking calls. There's still one that still texts me. I mean, it's someone that I'm friends with, but I just forward it to, I'm like, here you go, Jazz. So.
Well, cool, man. This was good to do a playbook / throwback coffee talk.
It's a coffee talk. We'll talk about dogs,
coffee.
Duels.
And anybody that's thinking about taking a leap in your agency, just do it. I mean, investing in yourself is so much better. Investing in yourself or your business is so much better than investing in other people's businesses.
Well, and it's a lot less expensive, right?
Yes.
Pull out that 100G, put it in the market. You're going to take a big cut before you even invest.
You look at you, baller.
Well, no, I'm just saying for you.
And that's a coffee talk.
Coffee talk.